Weekly Wrap number 11.
I know, how good's that?
Fantastic. We've stuck to our guns. It is Sunday. Look, it's a couple of days later. We've had a bloody chaotic week.
Yeah.
And just filmed this one just a little bit later than normal, but we've stuck to our guns. It's been 11 weeks in a row of filming. We've enjoyed every bit of it. We've covered a vast majority of topics, and not only that, I think it really gets our brains firing up. It's our accountability, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed the topic so far. How are you feeling about the 11th one, Joe?
Feeling great. First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you, thank
Trying
you.
to keep it on the DL.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how old are you now?
32.
32.
32, so
Nice.
well, yeah, getting old now.
So what are we going over today?
Today we're going to give you guys a bit of a touch on one. We've got just about what's about to happen and planning for the next 6 months of training for us, macros, what we're doing with Recomp and the program that we're going to use for that, the new gym we've joined, which we went and just trained there this morning, which is bloody fantastic, and I'm actually going to touch on bringing up a weaker body part and also setting your body up for dieting. That's a really important one as well. What about you, Jake?
I'll be going over just what I went over today with clients and myself, getting ready for training really hard from tomorrow. So it took a lot of weight off what I was doing and just focus on time under tension and different tempos as well. So I'll go over that and explain how all the tempos and stuff work. So.
Yep, fantastic. All right, well, first things first, let's have a little bit of a chat about the last 7 days of food. Jake, how you been, mate? What's been
food's been pretty good. I did have a burrito the other night. Yeah, otherwise it's been perfect.
Well,
yeah,
what would you rate your food out of 10 the last 7 days?
It'd be 8.
8 and
compared to usually 9 or 10.
Okay. And training?
Training 9.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's I mean, we all have our weeks. I mean, this is sort of our prelim week.
Yeah.
Before it's game on for the next pretty much 6 months as well. Well, my training, I finally had my first reasonable day back at legs after a bit of a layoff with the quad niggle. I did everything possible that I could for rehab, blood flow restriction training that we've covered in previous topics, and it's feeling really good. And you know what, the deload, I was in backing off the weight, and as Jake's going to be talking about tempo, I really feel my knees and my legs, it's probably the best they've felt for a very long time, so I'm really happy I did what I did. It was a forced rest or a forced deload anyway. And look, food, pretty much, hey, my parents have been up the whole week, so there's been a couple of beers here and there, but I've been very conscious about my choices. And the other thing too is that I wanted to highlight for you guys is that I could have had every opportunity to go nuts this last month, knowing that it was my last month before prep actually begins tomorrow. How's that? Birthday today, new gym we've joined, and prep starts tomorrow. So I've sort of timed it really well, but I've made some very conscious decisions as far as what food choices I've made, backing and manipulating calories, and I've only been fluctuating up and down a kilo this last month, which has been fantastic, whereas normally, if anyone knows me well, there's sometimes anywhere from 3 to 6 kilo increments after a good couple of days of food. Out of 10 food, I'd say around probably the 8.5, and training, I'd say about a 9. I've definitely been going hard at it, so all good. Very happy with where I'm at and positioning myself for prep to begin. And away we go.
Awesome. How long's prep? Is it 26?
I think so my first show, around 25, 26 weeks for my first show, and my last show I think is the 10th of November.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there, and I may as well go into sort of what's been planned for prep for me tomorrow. My calories have been dropped to around 3,800 to 4,000 calories. So that was, that'd probably be the best thing leading into our first topic, is actually setting yourself up for dieting. And the reason why I cover on similar topics every week. Jake and I are constantly talking about this with the clients and the mentees we're currently mentoring, is that too many people, because of their previous diet history and yo-yo dieting and weight fluctuations and severe calorie restrictions and overtraining, you name it, It's just a never-ending cycle, and to break that habit and that mindset is probably the most difficult thing we have to deal with, because normally what happens when someone comes to us and their body is not set up to start dieting yet, they've normally got two choices, and this is where we like to say to people as well, is that, look, you've got first choice. You can go and cut your calories and try to do more exercise, but unfortunately we're not going to be the ones that are going to do that to you, because we have your health as a major priority. Or you work with us, we get your metabolism repaired, we get you balanced hormonally, we get your calories up, which is a very, very important process as well. And don't think of it just because you're increasing your calories. It's a strategic method that we use that you can actually increase your calories. And I've got some men and women that were on 1,000 to 1,200 calories.
Yep.
And Jake and I have slowly repaired their metabolisms, where they're nearly eating double the amount of food. They look better. Their hips and waist measurements are down, and they're only, I think it's about 300 grams up on the scales, and they've doubled their food intake. So look, plain and simple, wrapping that one up, is that if you've got someone who's doing so much exercise and on little food, all your cards are played, all the tools on the tool belt have been used. You have nowhere to go except for more calorie reduction and increased exercise, where, guess what, if that happens, if that's the road you're going to go down, be prepared, and Jake and I have both gone through this before, be prepared for a hardcore metabolic rebound. By that I mean huge weight fluctuations, potential hormonal issues, and potential years of trying to repair your metabolism and get your body back to normality. I've seen it again and again. It is a big concern for lack of knowledge and education out there, and people thinking more training, less food is the answer. But guess what? Your body is so smart, and its priority is to make sure to keep you alive. Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
So the thing that we really like to focus on as far as getting people's bodies primed for actual fat loss and dieting is, one, looking at where their training and their cardio is at and addressing that, because sometimes actually backing that off, like I said in the previous episode, backing the cardio, tapering it off, not just cutting it out altogether, tapering it off and slowly increasing the food. People's bodies start to look better. They start to respond better. And I always like to refer to the car, the idle. If you're only idling and burning X amount of petrol, but if your metabolism, your body starts firing at full capacity, you're like that V8 supercar sitting at the traffic light. So there's so many great strategies you can use, provided that you've got the knowledge and understanding. And it's better to start from here with high calories and no cardio and continued weight training or some sort of resistance training, to be then set up properly to get the results that you would have originally expected going to a fitness facility or seeing a coach. So obviously, if there's coaches out there that are doing the same method, you would also experience the frustration of people because they're not patient. They're so used to doing their crash dieting, and everyone can lose weight, but guess what? The rebound's tenfold, and they never end up holding the body they're after. So you got any other things to add?
No, it's just been so good to learn about this. So we have to find out what our clients are eating first, and then work off that. You can't just go off the calorie in, calorie out sort of thing, working off your BMR, which is what you're taught. There's so much more to it.
Absolutely.
So that's been a really good learning experience, going through it myself and then having clients go through it as well. So finding out where they're at the moment, where their metabolism's at, and then working on it from there.
I think Jake absolutely hit the nail on the head. The BMR, or the basal metabolic, the amount of calories your body burns to survive, that line is dictated by what environment you provide your body. So someone who's followed all the right methods, their BMR might be cranking through the roof, and it might tell a good tale of where they can start. But if there's someone who's been crash dieting and on low calories already, and they're on such their body's functioning on such a slow, their BMR is slowed down in survival mode, they're things you've got to take into consideration. And like Jake said, is that we carefully monitor over a period of like 3 to 5 to 7 days. We like to normally get a week's worth of food intake to see exactly what their sort of calorie baseline's at before we make a decision on where we need to start a particular client. So
It's such an important part, which they don't teach in your PT course.
No.
It's insane.
No.
Yeah.
Real life experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, example, Shane was on sort of 1,200 calories, even less when he first started. That's what he was eating. And then I worked from there, and now he's up around 2,500 calories, but he's hit 20 kilos now.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, I think more than 20 kilos
Yeah.
in 19, 20 weeks, which is insane. And all we've done is increase his food over time, helped him make obviously better food choices,
Yeah.
and it's been unreal. So
There you go.
if I went off that standard, here's your BMR and then we'll drop your calories, you're just probably going backwards, to be honest. Not backwards, but we'll do a lot more damage than
Oh
over
yes.
time.
Well, if you went by BMR and calories in, calories out, well, why do people plateau?
Yeah.
In theory, if that was the case, calories in, why do people plateau?
Yeah.
Body adapts. So, yeah, no, really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right. What do you
I think I'll touch on tempo, just or the deloading phase that we went on this week.
Yeah.
And the idea was basically to take a lot of the weight off our exercises to give our joints and ligaments and everything like that a bit of a rest, because we haven't had a rest off heavy weights for the last couple of years, pretty much. So leading up into this, your comp prep starting tomorrow, what we've done is take weight off, but we make sure that time under tension is up there. And time under tension is basically the amount of time that you're doing a rep for. So we slowed it right down, or I did it this week. So 30-30 was the tempo I stuck at. So what that means is, so 3 seconds down, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 seconds up. So nice and slow compared to what we usually do. And I can take a lot of weight off, but it makes that exercise so hard. So you got light weight on there, but that muscle just gets hammered that way as well.
I think the science behind that as well, it was a lot of the principles I used when I first started training under my mentor, foundation building, but I think Jake and I would both agree that time and attention, the science backed as far as the trauma, non-fatal muscle tears and all these things sort of happening on a microscopic level in the body is phenomenal, and it gives your central nervous system a chance to rest, and like Jake said, your joints, and I've actually felt pretty damn good finally for this week as well. So I think it's been a great tool that we've used just to sort of come into our next phase of training as well.
Yeah, that's been really good. Play around with a few different exercises.
Yeah,
it's been good. Playing around myself and then tweaking it for clients later on with the same exercise or whatever. So that's been really good.
There's so many methods. Like you got time under tension, you've got paused reps, you've got X reps, you've got 1.5s, you've got drop sets.
Yeah.
There's so many methods out there, but in the end of the day, it's all about progression. Yeah, all about making sure that you're progressing. You've got a structured game plan, and you're recording, using all the data and the records to make sure that you're improving and progressing as time goes on. I think the biggest indicator of progression is increasing strength, or bettering by a couple of reps. And people go, oh, I don't feel like I'm progressing. And I said, well, how's your strength and how your exercise? And they go, oh, everything's improved. I said, well, that's a great indicator right there as well. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Another thing I tried is force reps. So because it's a bit lighter, we'll go till failure. And I think I spoke about this last week as well, but till failure and then 10 extra force reps. So you need your spotter there, and that was next level.
Yeah,
really good.
I think too, if you haven't got your spotter, that's where people, if you have or haven't heard, is drop sets.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing that you can use sort of right at the end of one of your exercises. Don't do it for every single set or anything, but drop sets is where you go on a failure on your first set, you drop in the weight, you go on again, getting a few more out, dropping it, going again, and it's just a good way if you haven't got a spotter or you're training by yourself to get a little bit extra out and tell your body, because in the end of the day, the body never wants to be put under that stress ever again. So next week, it adapts, it grows, it caters for it, and it goes, bring it on guys, and then you train harder, and that's what's obviously progressive overload. It happens over a period of weeks, and away we go.
That's it.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. I think that this is probably really cool going into our next topic as far as using tempos and drop sets, etc. But bringing up a weaker body part, this is definitely a question we get asked a lot. And again, everyone's different as far as what their strongest and weaker body parts are. And I think there's two things that we got to focus on when it comes to a weaker body part. Is one, is addressing or identifying the movement pattern.
Yeah.
You know, you grow the way you train. Mind-muscle connection, this is something Jake and I have formed our foundations on, is flexing with weight, or understanding and really thinking about the muscles that we're trying to hit. And that's something a lot of people just go through the motions, or they're just looking at the weight and just trying to lift with weight, rather than feeling the muscle they're trying to work and have an understanding of which muscle they're working through that current exercise. And that's where it's really good initially when someone's training for the first time or being introduced to a different exercise, is that time and attention is really, really good, because it enables them to squeeze the muscle, really think about what they're doing. But you know, in particular, a lot of guys with chest, we've had this, you know, you just about, you know, when you look at someone the way they train straight away. Yeah. And a lot of guys using a lot of shoulder and lat and tricep, whereas just simple little movements, being able to keep the shoulders out of it. And again, it's not just as easy as just pulling your shoulders back, but little movements like that make a hell of a difference in pulling the weight back, because too many guys, especially when they're trying to grow a certain body part, they're lifting with too much weight, and other muscles are coming into play to compensate. So I see that one a huge one as far as imbalances there. And the other one, let's talk glutes for women.
Yep.
Normally that again comes down to mind muscle connection, but I think a big one is range of motion. We call it partial peaks. You know, women especially being a little bit conscious about going down that little bit deeper, because they're worried they're not going to be able to get the weight up, etc. So same thing, pull the weight back, focus a lot more on time and attention to depth as well, because the deeper you go, the better engagement through your glutes and your hamstrings.
So you're talking squats when you say depth?
Depth. Yeah. It's, you know, they say the term ass to grass, or around that, especially that around 90-degree mark, but making sure your stance is right, you're thinking about driving through your glutes and your hamstrings off the bottom there. But you see a lot of women straight up, a lot of women get great quad development, but very little to no hamstring and glute thickness and development through there. And I've always found and advised, this is based on my experience, is range of motion and tempo and mind muscle connection, definitely. So I think one, that's a big one. You got anything to add on that one?
Yeah, that's spot on pretty much. So your glutes, you've really got to think about actually contracting it. You can go through the motion, but you don't hit that muscle probably. Same with hamstrings as well. You really got to feel it and not let your lower back and swing and do the work as well. So
Form. You grow the way you train. And number two, a lot of people think that they need to rest more than what they do. A lot of people don't train hard enough to even warrant a day off. This was probably something that pulled my progress back a lot. It's not saying you need to train every day, but if you have a lagging body part, training frequency is probably the next thing. If form is good, if that side of things has been addressed, training frequency, and obviously for Jake and I, legs being one of them, we thought we were training hard 12 to 18 months ago, which we were, but introducing twice a week for legs, which then we started with undulating rep ranges, so we started doing some strength and then some volume, so we're getting a bit of both every week, which was, it just took things to another level. And then sometimes we were training them even up to 3 days a week as well. And for that there, and I'll speak for Jake's legs, it's been absolutely incredible to see the response from just that extra bit of training frequency. And probably the other thing too is that if you do have a stronger body part, well, you can tend to back that off a little bit and really hit it hard with some compound movements, and put your legs in there as well, but prioritize on what body parts in particular you want to focus on. I think lately I've been doing a lot of hamstring work and everything as well. One, because my quad niggle, but two, I really want to thicken my hamstrings up. So training frequency is another one. So I'd start either increasing the number of sets that you're doing with your first session, and then if need be, you can actually put another session in there through the week and try changing up your rep ranges as far as some type of strength day, and then the next session you can try a high volume day. I'm talking 15 to 20 rep range as well.
And sort of, we usually do squats, but then I've been doing lately quad dominant after squats, and then my next session will be squats and then hamstring dominant.
Yep.
Sort of thing.
Yep.
To mix it up, just it was a big workout doing smashing quads and then hamstrings as well. Got to make sure we get squats in, quad dominant day, and then squats again, hamstring dominant day.
Yeah.
They say, eh?
Yeah. So I think prioritisation. Everyone's different. You can't use a blanket solution on everyone. Like, and this is the same thing. Like Jake and I were just speaking about before. Is this you learn so much about different scenarios of people from the environment they've been exposed to, whether it be their dieting history, whether it be their training history. There's no blanket solution. There definitely is a guide that you can use, but everyone is different. And the thing too, at the rate that the body adapts, you've got to keep up the pace with that as well and be able to adapt and change and complement it with your food, complement it with your rest and recovery, complement it with your supplements and filling in the gaps. And I wish there was a secret sauce, as I always say, but yeah, it just comes down to good old hard work and consistent hard work as well.
That's it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that's a pretty cool couple of little topics there. I think our community is pretty excited to get together at midday today at our local and have a few beers and sort of reflect on what has happened over the last few years, but not only that, we've got a huge year ahead, and we really look forward to sort of exposing that side in relation to training and mindset and what happens when you're really depleted and not feeling like training whatsoever, and the lengths you've got to go to when you know you've got to get the job done, but your body and your mind is not really there. The light's on, but there's no one home. But I am so fortunate. I'm so fortunate to have such a good community of people around me that I have not been there for their journeys as well. But I think support circles will just help take that body the extra mile and go that extra mile over this next 6 months. And I am ready to rock and roll.
We'll start tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll fill you in on that side of things. I won't bore you today, but I'll fill you in once that all goes through. And pretty excited to deliver the 11th episode of the Weekly Wrap. And yeah, there's just so much we're learning. We're reading books, we're doing more studies. I've got a couple of online courses that I'm just about to do for my continuing educational credits or whatever you call it. But we're always opening our minds to new research, new studies, and just having an open mind, because we don't claim to know much. There's so much to learn. So hopefully we can continue to deliver the goods to you